Oh, hello there, and welcome to Phil Talking D20. So, apologies for the again lengthy hiatus of activity on my channel. Life is busy. It is like nearly Christmas. Woohoo! So, happy Christmas and a happy New Year if I don't video you before. Stay safe, stay well, because obviously here in the UK, lockdown 2, yeah! I'm a key worker, so I've been really, really busy. Oh, boo-hoo. Which is, again, one of the reasons why it's been harder to make video content. And the second reason, I'm running a game at the moment, so again, that's taking up a bit more of my time. So it's just been one of those things. You know, that's how the cookie crumbles, as they say, in the world of television. Oh, very specifically one movie, I think, from memory. But anyway, that's by the by. So today's Meta Magic Magic Meta. Meta Magic 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 Meta. Anyway, that's the gist of it. I want to talk about the meta of magic and why I've got quite an interesting kind of theory and idea for spellcasters, which is, if I'm brutally honest with you, kind of very similar to the crossbow meta of the shoot, reload, shoot in one round, and then the next round, reload, shoot, reload. The 3-action system in play in all its glory. And that's kind of where I'm at with spells. A lot of spells, huge number of spells are 2 actions, which means you can do 1 a turn. Some of them are 3, a few of them are 1, a couple of them are free actions or reactions, so to speak, in terms of what they're kind of emulating, but the bulk of them, generally in general, seem to be 2. And it's this, I suppose, format of action economy that's quite important, especially if you're a caster. You might not be the tankiest of characters in your party, and there's that element of being pushed and having to react and not necessarily being able to rely on having all 3 of your actions for casting. But wait, what if there was a secret code hidden within the rules that enabled us to take advantage of consecutive turns? So, much like the crossbow, you use a move action to move back away from combatants. We're talking theoretically now about a very simplistic combat that I'm going to use to demonstrate the meta magic of magic meta. The magic meta of meta magic. Just pick one. And the gist is simple. We're going to move back because there are a group of combatants that are very hitty, bang, bang, and that is troubling for us as a caster because we know we're vulnerable. So we move back. That's 1 action. We then sink 1 action into Dimension Door because it's very clear they're going to get to us, and we don't necessarily want that to be on their terms. And then we sink 1 other action into Dinosaur form. So that's our 3 actions used. We've given ourselves some breathing space, and we've started to cast a teleport escapee spell, but also a combat offensy spell. Then what happens? Other stuff happens. It's not your turn anymore, it's out of your control. Bish bash bosh bosh, bish bash bosh. Maybe someone gets into combat with you, you take some damage. You then get into a situation where if the party isn't protecting you and you're in that situation, next round, you're able to fire off a Dimension Door to reposition yourself advantageously, and also with your second action, deploy Dinosaur form. And that is 2 of your 3 actions, which means you've got a third action to either finalize a move or start casting another spell or get an attack off. And you can continue to cycle that as long as you are consecutive round by round. And that's important. We know there is a continuity between rounds. So we know that round 1 to round 2 is a frame in a movie. Round 2 to round 3 is a continuation of said scene that started in round 1. So as long as you're not breaking up your casting, you're just consistently doing it round by round, that to me seems fairly legitimate and very worth considering, especially if you want to try and get off, maybe you're a cleric and you want to do a really big like area burst heal, but you know you don't need to do it at round 1, but you think at round 3 that might pay off, because damage will have been back and forth between your allies and your opponents. So round 1, you make a move into combat, you make a strike, you cast 1 action of the 3 action version of heal. Round 2, everything's going fine, it's fairly normal, no one's taken any mega hits, so you think, all right, I'll put 1 more action into 3 action heal, consecutive, round by round. We did 1 in round 1, we did 1 in round 2, we're fine, we're not breaking the cycle of casting. And then we make 2 attacks, because we're a, warrior, kind of cleric, and that's what the kind of, the game we're involved in. It doesn't really matter what those 2 other actions are. I'm just simplifying it for purposes of simple narration. And then our 3rd round, there's been a bit of a stacking of damage. Everyone's starting to feel the pace. Characters have taken damage across 3 rounds now. Your allies aren't necessarily, on the verge of death, but they might not be looking great. And you go, 1 action, finalising the 3 action casting, bump, area effect, heal, dumped. Everyone gets some hit points back. You've still got 2 actions in play. Maybe you cast a 2 action spell and do some more specific healing because someone in the party also took a crit and they're in a really bad way, and the area effect healing has dealt with everyone else, but maybe that character's still quite badly damaged, and you've gone, bam, there's an extra 2 action heal on you, and suddenly you can see how there is a magic meta. Ooh, imagine. The possibilities are endless. So you can see how I'm trying to kind of create that kind of structure idea. If you can think about spells in that kind of a manner, where as long as you are stacking them consistently, in theory, this is also enabling you to cast 2 spells around, instead of 1 on one round and 1 on another. Why is that an advantage? Dimension Door and Dinosaur Form I chose deliberately, because what that enables you to do is in 1 round, teleport from where you were, roughly 120 feet, to somewhere that you weren't, and arrive as a great big dinosaur that starts biting people's heads off. As opposed to, in 1 round, teleporting and standing there being like, hello, I'm a wizard, and then going through the process of casting and putting yourself in that position. If you look at the example I gave right at the start with the wizard, if you invested 2 actions in Dimension Door and 1 action into Dinosaur Form, and didn't obviously then kind of, moved yourself with the spell, at the start of your next round, 1 action puts you in Dinosaur Form. If you position yourself to be flanking someone, dunk, that's 2 attacks in Dinosaur Form straight away. And that's how I'm kind of wanting to start making you think about magic. Can you weave spells together? Can you construct spell paths and use your 3 action economy across consecutive rounds? The cleric is another good example of that, to create effects when you need them, or in a way that combines them to make them more advantageous. So yeah, start thinking about the meta of magic. That'll do. Happy days. Make sense? Right, so that's the first video done. Hooray! I do want to look at magic more, because magic is something that I don't use a huge amount of. I've GM'd for people that have played casters, and I like magic, and I've always said to myself, oh, my next character will probably be a caster, and I'm probably going to, at some point, hopefully not just in future, get to play a summoner. I would like to give that a whirl. It does sound quite cool. So I do want to start kind of getting into the nuts and bolts of magic, but I just thought that was quite an interesting concept, and maybe it will change your game up. Maybe you'll start thinking about kind of how you structure your action economy, because we do it with other things. The crossbow is a really good example of simple action economy meta. So think about it with magic, see what you can do, and chain some spells and ruin some villains' days. Peace out, stay safe, stay well, and I will see you on the next video. Hopefully before the end of the year, in ideal circumstances. Take care, peace out.